Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome to the Madjef Show. Another day, another episode, a chance for me to unload. I'm your host, Jeff Taylor. You know me, that's my government name. That's what they call me. They call me Jeff Taylor. That's the label they stuck to me. It's all good, but you can call me Madjef. You can call me friend. You can call me whatever you want. Just call me, baby. Hey, anyway, I'm so glad you're here today. I'm excited to have you on my show. And I hope everything is grooving just the way you like. We're going to get into this a little bit. I got a guest today I want to talk to you a little bit about. I'm going to bring him out in a second. First of all, let me show you who he is. He's David Schwartz. He goes by the name David Schwartz. The company's called David Mating. He's a bad dude, man. He's made some things that you're going to be impressed when you hear a little bit more about it, I think. So we're going to bring David out in just a moment. Before that, I always got some news I want to share with folks. So if you don't mind, I'm going to jump into a little news bit real quick. Let's see what I got. Let's see what I got for news. We got news. What do we got in the news? Well, in the news today, we lost a great guy. Young fella, too. Mr. Virgil Abloh. This guy was, he was a fashion designer, and he was a friend of Kanye West's. That's kind of how they got together in the game and the fashion business. And this guy went on to become the creative director for Louis Vuitton. Amazing, like just an amazing ascension from young man to director of Louis Vuitton, which was considered an untouchable brand at some point not too long ago. Anyway, this young man passed away from cancer, and it was unexpected. He's only 41 years old when we lost a really good young man, a bright light. Hate to see him go, but I just wanted to bring him on the show real quick and say rest in peace, Mr. Abloh. You will be missed. In further news, them folks at Sounds of Blackness Incorporated is still doing the thing, man. They out here are nominated for an NAACP award, Grammy nominations. Man, tireless is all I can say. Now, I've got some awards. I've got several of them on my walls from my association with that fine organization, the Sounds of Blackness. And guess what? You too can have some of these awards, because guess what? They auditioning. If you a singer, a musician, you could be in this Grammy Award winning group with Gary Hines and the rest of the folks and the amazing Sounds of Blackness. Here's a number right here at the bottom. You should check it out. That's all I got for news. I just wanted to share that with you real quick. And maybe give somebody an opportunity to get out here and do something that they dreamt of doing their entire lives, such as being a member of a Grammy Award winning group. Anyway, where was I? So David, this is David Schwartz, ladies and gentlemen, and we're about to bring David out right now. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this young man you're witnessing right now is Mr. David Schwartz. What's up, David? This
What's
right
up,
here
Jeff?
is what they call it. David. Can we clap for David, please? Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. David, welcome to the Madjef Music Show, man. Excited.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Very excited to have you here, man. Very excited. Hold on, let me get my music.
Same.
What's going on here? Chill out. Yeah. So, David, tell me, man, what's going on in your world?
Wow. Well, I've been a designer for 20 years, and a lot of it's been digital. I got to make my first physical piece of art, and I got to showcase it for the first time at Complex Con and Designer Con in Los Angeles. And I just came back from that, and it went really well.
Now,
I'm excited about that.
This particular piece of art you're talking about, does it go by a name? Is it something we can call it? What's it called?
I called it the Rhyme Capsule. It's a sculpture that is a crystal boombox, weighs about 200 pounds. It's 96 pieces of crystal, and it encapsulates 180 classic hip-hop albums, 1980 to 2000. And it's resting on a marble figure pedestal, which weighs around 1,000 pounds. And the whole entire thing took about a year and a half to complete. And just started from a small idea and evolved. And I wanted to make a physical piece. And so this is my first piece. It's kind of a mix of design and sculpture, because I didn't hand chisel the marble or the crystal. Everything, I still did it in the computer, but had the materials cut. So it's like art and design.
Well, it's impressive, man. I mean, we just jump right into that. That's an amazing piece of work here, man, and it definitely deserves some build up. I want to talk a little bit more about that as we get into this show because it's an awesome work. But what has led you to be this sculptor guy who creates, Italian marble pieces in his living room, bro? I mean, where are you coming from, man? Where are you from?
We want to go. We want to start at the beginning.
Take me back, David. Take me back. How are we associated?
To to
Let's go
keep
back to
it
Minnesota.
well. So to go back to Minnesota. So born in New York, grew up in Jersey, moved to Minnesota with my father after my mom passed away when I was around 8 years old. This was '88. Um, and I went to a music school, music magnet school, where I learned to play instruments, and I was always into hip hop. So I started writing raps around 10 years old. Um, and I was actually, this is the funny thing, is that I went to Guitar Center right off of Snelling over there, and I bought some loop CDs, which was the Madjef loop CD when I was like 14 years old, and I got Michael Bland and Sonny T's funky ass loops. And from that, I had a little keyboard in my basement, and I would chop up all those samples, and I started making my own music.
Oh, you caught me off guard
That
with that.
that's where it started.
That's funny, David. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So you were inspired. So you were an aspiring rapper, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah,
Producer rapper,
yeah,
pretty much. And
yeah.
you had some success because you did something that a lot of guys couldn't do, and that is you actually hooked up with Prince himself, and during his rap experimentation period, actually got on a rap song with him, the Daisy Chain joint, right?
Yeah. We
I knew a dancer, her name was Kelly. Nickname Candy with a hoop through her belly. A tongue ring, with a voice to sing. With a body like giant piece, everything. See, I used to deliver pizza to her house, but tonight she said, you'll come in and chill out. I came in, sat down, I was looking around. What I found she was stepping out of gown. I had to stop that girl.
This is a video that has Prince in it and Larry Graham. And you're like rapping in that joint, and Larry's playing the bass. Now, I want to tell you something about Larry Graham, bro. That's a bad man.
yeah.
That's a bad bass player. That's that's a bass playing legend, man, in the hood, bro. Now, we talked about your
I
age. I'm older than you, and I realize I'm a lot older than you after hearing you describe how old you were in 1984. But I was inspired by Larry Graham when I was like 9 or 10. That's how long
As
Larry.
was Prince, and that was his hero. That was one of his. Yeah,
Yeah, nuts. Like the first
yeah.
time I remember being out somewhere in a backyard and hearing the one song he did is "One You All," and he's in it. I'm the it's like the bass was just the nuttiest record I ever heard in my life, bro. Like uh, it was nuts. And but what the bass was doing was just flat. So the fact that he still was playing all those years and he played up through those years and he ended up with Prince and associated with you in that way is just remarkable. That's remarkable stuff. But that's what it takes.
Yeah.
That's what it takes.
Um,
So, I'm sorry. Talk to me, man. What's going on?
no, no, no. Larry was always kind to me. He was always, just gentle and like laugh, like this big smile. Whenever he walked in the room, Prince would always. It's like the energy changed. It was all good
Hmm.
energy though.
I mean, just legendary stuff, man. I mean, it just amazing bass player. I mean, just Larry. When you say Larry Graham, people know who you're talking about. The bass musicians know instantly who you're talking about. They know who you're talking about. And there was a time when you would have thought somebody like what's his name played with Larry with George Duke, Stanley Clark.
Hmm.
He kind of went in a different direction, but there was a time when they were neck and neck for the baddest. Them and one of the Johnson brothers were like it was like bass player heaven. This was before Nathan East and all those other guys came along. But anyway, we could talk musicians all day, bro, because I know a lot of these cats. But I don't want to talk musicians. I want to talk about David Schwartz. So David, Minneapolis, got involved with Prince. You did something that a lot of people haven't done, and that is actually record with him. What was that process like for you, and what kind of period of time was it for him?
He had just gone through a divorce, and he was experimenting. I think he wanted to do a different kind of an album, and he spent a lot of time on it. And then when he finished the album, he wound up scrapping it, and it got spliced into two other albums and came out later. So I'm actually featured on two of his albums because of everything that happened. But At the time, I was 20. I was 20 years old, and I was just working locally with a lot of producers locally. I was working with like Morris Hayes, and I was working with Jack Robinson. I was working with Montel Broadway. I was working with just a lot of people all over town. And but I connected with Kip Blackshire, who was uh, Prince's keyboard. At that time, Prince had Morris and he had Kip, and there was two keyboard players. And I met Kip over at Morris's studio, and we really just clicked. We became like best friends, and we would play basketball every day and write songs together. And we started working on some new material. Kip really taught me how to take my writing to another level because he was a singer, but he's so soulful, and he comes from the church background, and he's just a real down to earth person. And had me evolve because a lot of time I'm talking about gibberish. I was a kid. I was just bragging about, talking about girls and women and
Right.
talking about what I got, and just BS, right? And so Kip was like, tried to help me find more substance in what I wanted to talk about in direction. And I feel like that's what a real producer should do, and a lot of people weren't doing that for me. And so the material that Kip and I worked on together was really powerful because it was the first songs I had ever written that were truly from my heart and about something I was very passionate about. And I would help him with the production, and he would help me with the lyrics. So it was like a true partnership. And Prince heard the songs we were working on and wanted to meet me. And so that's a long story on kind of the first few interactions with him, but that led to a friendship between me and Prince, and we would play basketball together. Kip, Prince, and I probably played 100 plus games of 21 over those couple years that I was there. It was just a thing. He would call us up. We would just go out there and just play for hours. And then um, Prince had me perform at his parties sometimes. That's how it started. I would just rap on some of his songs on the after parties at night. And then one day I went in there for rehearsal, and I was just dropping Kip off, and he was like, "Why don't you stay and watch?" And I was like, "All right." So I'm just watching Prince rehearse for a tour, and in the middle of one of the songs, Prince calls me up to the stage and points to the gold microphone. He's like, rap. And so he just kind of was playing and, just sitting back playing a groove. And I just started, I don't remember if I freestyled first or just did something I already had written, but I did it, kind of did pretty good. And then I just walked off the stage and disappeared because I was kind of nervous. I was like, I don't really know what else. I don't want to just sit on the stage during his rehearsal. I was like, I really don't know where to put myself. So I just walked out and sat in the parking lot. It was just like, that was awesome.
You say you went and sat in the parking
And
lot.
I didn't even want to stay in the room. I was just like, let me leave while I'm ahead. Let me walk out of here a
That's too
champion.
funny.
Like I was like, I can retire now. I just rapped with Prince. I can retire.
A
And I
drop the
was like,
mic
let me sit in the
moment.
parking lot. Right. But the next day I came out, same exact thing happened. He pointed to the mic again during rehearsal. But this time was different. Something changed. I wasn't nervous anymore. I was just like completely zen, like, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna have fun with this. What's the worst that could happen? And we jammed for probably an hour. We did dozens of songs together where he would just he would start, like, I remember he did Bob Marley's "I don't want to wait in vain for your love," and then he would stop and point to me, and I would do a verse,
Oh,
and then he
nice.
would come back in and sing the chorus, and then he would point to me again, and I would do another verse, and then he would sing the chorus, and I was just rapping stuff I had already written that went along with the song, but I made him laugh a couple times while I was saying it, so I could tell he was digging what I was putting out, and then that was just a surreal experience. And then I sat after about an hour. I went outside, and Morris came out after that, and this was the moment I knew everything was different. He was like, "Well, welcome to the family." He said, dude said he wants to work with you," and that was just wide open. I was like, that meant a lot of things.
That's incredible, man. That's an incredible story, and not a lot of people had that opportunity, to be one on one and not be, But I guess when you think about it, there have been folks who have worked with him, but just haven't had any notoriety outside of that. Like you can't, you know what I mean? Like it seems impossible to overshadow Prince once you've worked with him, and when people just want to talk about your project, they just want to talk about Prince.
That is true. But I also find the opposite thing as it blessed me for life kind of thing also, because anytime somebody wants to see what I'm working on now, they automatically give me an opportunity to at least show them what I've got because of my history.
Well, that's a very important thing, and so what I'm hearing you say is you've taken that opportunity and parlayed it into something that's a little different, and that's a company or brand that you started called David Made It as one of those vehicles for yourself, where you were what's your role there? Because I believe you're just a world's best graphics artist, and you were and people were hiring you like this lady has hired you to do some stuff. I was like, this dude must be really good at what he's doing because she's all about the bling, man. So this is
I
Paris Hilton.
know.
So what kind of work you doing
Oh.
in a situation like that, Dave? What's your company all about?
Um, well, it started with I was doing album covers for people in Minneapolis when I was like maybe 17 years old. So this was 97. This is like Photoshop 2.0 came out. I had just learned it. And I was doing, somebody paid me $30 to do a flyer for them. Another person paid me three. Actually, I think Morris Hayes or Montel Broadway got me one of my first design jobs for an album cover for like a few $100. And I was like, holy you mean I could make $300 doing an album cover? Well, my mind was blown. I was 17
Hey,
years old. Like,
another
I
mic,
thought I was
another
rich.
drop the mic moment.
I thought I was rich. It was $300, and so I got those first few covers were really good by Minneapolis standards. So I got all the work. Everybody in Minneapolis, I started building a name for myself with Devious Graphics, and I started doing everybody's stuff all the way up to mint condition. And then Prince saw my design work and wanted me to start working on an album cover for the album that I was rapping on. I started coming up with some concepts for the packaging for him because he had liked what I did for mine. So I was always in graphic design, even before I was, kind of touring with him, rapping on his songs. And then I just escalated that. I moved to Atlanta in 2002 and started a design company out of my apartment, and kind of moved there with nothing. So the first few months I was there, I was like sleeping on floors, and I went to a few people that knew everybody in the city and said, look, I charge thousands of dollars for this, and I'll do your projects for free if you introduce me to everybody you know. And I built a business off of that. And I was able to, I did like Akon's first demo tape when they were shopping him to labels. It was my artwork they went in the label with. I did 404 Soldiers, a lot of Rashida stuff, 2 Chainz before when he was Titty Boy. I did a lot of mixtapes for these guys, a lot of album covers. I did probably thousands of album covers and mixed CD covers in that 10-year span in Atlanta.
That's
Gucci
incredible.
Gucci Man's first few album covers,
That's
a lot of Atlanta stuff.
That's incredible. And and again, this show started as a behind the scenes shout out to the guys like you, David, who are back there creating those cool album covers. Because when you see some of these graphics, these things aren't just basic graphics that people can just toss together. Some of this work is really, really well thought out, and a lot of the stuff you've done has been very, very, very well received as a result of that. How difficult has it been for you to get to a point where people are accepting your work and hiring you to do jobs like some of the pictures I just showed?
It's just been a process. I think there was a long time for 15 years where I worked for myself, just from an apartment or a small office space I rented. But then I went to work for ad agencies for 10 years in Los Angeles. And that's when I got to work on more of the film projects and TV shows and large scale brands and websites and all that, and social media campaigns. So the career keeps changing. I liked the corporate environment for 10 years because I learned a lot about how those kinds of places work and what my role really should be and where I can see myself growing to and how those businesses function. But I do miss, being on my own again. Also, there's parts I like to having my business, and so now I'm in kind of like, always looking to like see what's next. It's been a journey.
Well, let's talk about your friend here. Let's talk about your new friend, this guy here. Let's talk about this guy. You recently, so I think some great things are going to happen, and then I think we mentioned a little bit offline here that somebody might have reached out to you recently to talk to you about getting involved with this project. Yep. Somebody of notable rap status. I think that's pretty awesome, Dave, because this is really an amazing product. And when I saw it, I thought, I know this guy indirectly. So tell me about this project, because I really want to know what inspired you to make such a really cool, such a cool item. This Rhyme Capsule. What made you do this, man?
I was a really big fan of album covers in the 80s and 90s. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to become a designer. I really love the artwork. I fell in love with music. You know, I wanted to be an artist and actually make records and songs, but I also like creating the artwork. And one of my childhood neighbors, she got to work on a lot of big album covers in the 80s and 90s. Like she did the big Cyndi Lauper album cover. She did Rolling Stones. She did 3 of Run DMC's album covers. A lot of them. And her parents had them on her wall in their kitchen. And I would see that as a kid. And that was one of the things that inspired me to do album covers. And I started seeing cassette tapes recently again when I was going to like the Rose Bowl, you know, these places in LA that have, you know, the swap meets or the flea markets or different places or old record stores. And I started coming across, you know, these cassette tapes I hadn't seen in a long time. And it just felt so special again to hold them, right? Because everything's on Spotify playlists or whatever. And so it brought back so much nostalgia for me. I just kept buying them. And I had some, you know, I started getting a good collection of them. And I was like, at the same time, I went to the LA Art Show, which is, you know, at the convention center. And there's a lot of contemporary artists there in sculpture work and paintings and everything. And I got really inspired by all the amazing artwork. It's the closest thing to like an art basel maybe that LA has. And it blew my mind. It inspired me. I was like, how come I don't know about this world and why am I not a part of it? I was like, everything I make is digital and it's here today, gone tomorrow. I was like, I want to create something that lives in a room that can change the energy of a room and watch people interact with it. And I really wanted to make something physical that would exist in the real world. And so I think right around that time, because of the cassette nostalgia and me going to the LA Art Show, it was like, okay, let me start with my passion for the nostalgia for my collection right here, and let me make a sculpture out of that. And that's how it started.
So what's your plans for this thing now? This is now your touring buddy now. He got to go everywhere you go, bro. So how you getting this thing around, man? What's the plan? I'm
actually at a crossroads right now because it's either, you know, I don't sell it and I continue to showcase it. And I've gotten a lot of opportunities from Complex Con to showcase it. And then just keep building it up. The Universal Hip Hop Museum in the Bronx that's opening, they're interested in possibly showcasing it. I just don't know if I would like to go on that journey of being the logistics person more than the artist, because to move this piece around is very expensive and it's very complicated with insurance and with logistic companies and movers. And I've even injured myself, moving parts of it myself. I have some health issues now because of it. So I don't know if I want to go on that journey of flying out everywhere and managing the showcasing. So I think there's going to have to be a decision made soon, which could happen in the next couple weeks, where I might unload that burden onto somebody else and then just keep making more pieces. This is just a one of one with the marble figure, but I will continue to make more boom boxes.
Well, a few of them. Is that you get to unload it on to somebody for a really good and hefty price. Because, you know, you're an artist, well, you deserve to be paid for the work you do. And we talked about this earlier, but, you know, you can put a lot of work and effort into a piece like this and nobody see your vision or give you funding or anything. But then the hope as an artist is that on down the line, they will see the significance of the blood and the sweat and the tears that went into it. And I think they will in this case, David. But before I let you out of here, I did want to talk to you about something that's new in your life, bro. And that is this lovely young lady right here.
Oh.
You got married just recently, man. Yes, you did.
Well, it's been 3.5 years. We've been together 6.5.
And from the looks of this photo right here, you keep looking at her like that, you will be with her for the rest of your life. This is not something you can teach, bro. That is just pure love, and you're a smart man for doing that. I'm gonna learn to look at a woman like that. That way I can keep a woman in my life. How'd it go, David?
Yeah, it's.
I love it, baby. I love it. David, man, I'm so glad I had you on the show, man. Well, I just, really cool to catch up with you, a chance to kind of talk to you a little bit and find out about your art and the things you got going. And I wish you continued success, man, in everything you're doing, bro.
Thank you.
Awesome interview. Awesome guest, ladies and gentlemen. That is the one and only David Schwartz. Give him a clap, man. Give that man a clap, man. Good guess right there. That's my guy. Thank you so much, David. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh. David stole my input on my... Hold on, David. I'm trying to get out of here. Oh, goodness. I got to go to my side. I ain't going to say goodbye. Something freaky happened with my camera. I think it shut off. David, thank you so much, man, again. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Madjef Music Show. That was my guest, David Schwartz. And he's a very, very talented artist, somebody that, I think you're going to be hearing big things from. He's an up-and-comer. He's still coming. He's still coming. So that's all I got for the Madjef Show. I did want to show you who my next guest is, though. It is this person right here. I don't know if you've ever heard her song, Somebody Else's Guy. It's one of the biggest songs in the history of the world. And this is Miss Jocelyn Brown. She's going to come all the way from the UK where she's based at and do my little bitty show. I'm really excited about having her on. And that's next Tuesday on the 7th, man. This will be my 49th episode right here with Jocelyn Brown. So I'm really looking forward to that. I did also want to share with you that I got some sponsors and they work with me on some things. And here they are right here. These fine folks here.
Paradise Hill Productions and RM2 Music are proud sponsors of the Madjef Music Show, bringing you real talent, real music, and real musicians. Sharing the same values, we put our artists first so they can thrive and deliver to you, the listener, timeless music and great shows.
Hey, my camera's back. How about that? Anyway, it's too late. I'm mad at my tech. Don't worry about it. On a serious note, though, a very serious note, suicide prevention is a thing, man. It's one of those things that you need to be aware of. There's somebody out here in this world that needs your help. Somebody needs direction. They don't have anybody to talk to. You could be the person because you have this number. You could be the person that helps that individual out simply by passing on this number and encouraging them to talk to somebody who can help them. And that's at 1-800-273-TALK. This is a real big deal, man. It really is amongst the young people in our society. So do your part. Do your part. Anyway, that's it, man. Dang it, man. I tell you. I don't know what's going on with my camera. But it's the Madjef Show. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. Until we meet again. I'm out.